Social battery is so low right now, especially after Thanksgiving. You know, all those conversations you have with your family members that you see once a year. I am pooped. But, something I never get tired about talking about is things that grind my gears.
That really grinds my gears.
And one of those things we're going to talk about in today's video, it is an overall theme with today's character, and he's known as Joe Gatto from Impractical Jokers, a very iconic show I used to watch. Like, that was a family show that me, my mom, my brother used to all watch, and just over time, we stopped watching it. I wonder why. And then, by the grace of the YouTube algorithm, make sure everyone bows to the YouTube gods, but I saw this video and I remembered, oh yeah, Joe left the show. But I always remembered saying to myself, like, why did he leave the show? Like, what the fuck happened exactly? What was the reason again? So this video essay goes into the Joe Gatto departure of the show. Definitely recommend checking this video out first if you haven't already. Before watching this one, we're going to be like an online internet forum style, reacting to this video, talking about some of the contents from this video, and give my own thoughts of the problem I see with a lot of online content creators and famous people alike. Basically, if you have influence, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna come through this problem. This consistent and persistent problem that I find many celebrities in. But to summarize, this video basically gives you a little background of the show, how it became worse since Joe left.
Permanent impact on the show, as ratings have plummeted to an all-time low, and Impractical Jokers has become a shell of what it once was.
And this is true. The show definitely lost part of its soul per se when Joe left, because it was a show about 4 lifelong friends, and then one of those 4 lifelong friends leaves, and now you have celebrities like Post Malone, Eric Andre, and all these other comedians. But this video essay also mentions Joe's statement about how he indicated with his at the time divorced wife or something like that. Now they're back together. But he basically said and talked about how he wanted to give more focus to his family.
Through a post made to Instagram, Joe revealed that he and his wife, Bessie, had recently separated, and he wanted to focus on co-parenting his 2 young children during their separation, which seems understandable. Fans respected Joe's decision to move on and appreciated the care he had for his family. His 3 co-stars released a joint statement of their own, where they expressed their appreciation for Joe and their intentions to continue making episodes without him. But some fans voiced concerns about the show's ability to last without him and felt that a piece of the soul that made the show great would be missing.
I don't know about y'all, but whenever I start hearing a father saying he wants to start focusing on his family, 9 times out of 10, he was forced to do that. But also you have the scrubbing of certain Joe episodes from the show. A show that he helped build. So this video further goes into explaining a fundamental morality issue with Joe Gatto specifically. As I stated earlier, this problem that Joe Gatto finds himself in is a problem that a lot of celebrities and people with online influence find themselves in. There's 3 allegations that with various degrees of credibility, but one thing is undeniable. Joe is using his prominence to flirt with fans and get them into his hotel room. Take a listen to his statement on the first allegation.
Is kind of accusing him of a crime, but regardless of what we think, Joe would actually respond to these allegations stating, "I have used poor judgment, and as a result I have violated the trust of the people I love most. But anyone who knows me at all knows full well that I wouldn't assault anyone. Working on myself is an ongoing process, and I am now going to take some time away from the public eye to focus my energies where I need to." Despite being vague, Joe's statement tells a lot through subtle context. He doesn't directly deny the encounter.
And when you have a problem in a history of nonstop hitting up your fans, and one of them comes out and mentions a weird situation, this gives confidence to other people to be like, hey, you know what? There was this one weird thing this same guy did, something similar to that. So more allegations came out.
They continued chatting with him in DMs and asked if he could give them free tickets to a 3rd show, to which he said yes. When they arrived to the 3rd show, they got to spend more time with him backstage, and they claimed this is where Joe started behaving inappropriately.
So then he told us to take a seat with him on the couch, so we did. And he was staring at our stomachs, and he was wondering if we had an innie or an outie belly button. And he told us to lift up our shirts, so we did. I mean, it was kind of, we couldn't not, you know. So we did, and then he asked to touch them, and that's when it started getting weird. He was stroking our bellies, and that sounds so weird, but I swear to God, that's what he was doing. He was literally touching our belly buttons.
And he kissed her on the cheek before we left.
He kissed me on the cheek, and he gave us a $100 bill.
Afterwards, he felt bad because we had to drive so far to get back, and he ended up buying us a hotel, like a $200 hotel.
Basically, like, this is all we really have about the hotel, because, like, we didn't get pictures of it or anything because we were so, like, fed up in the moment and, like, excited about it, because, like, obviously he's a celebrity and he was, like, spending money on us, and we were like, oh my God, like, what the heck. But he was still kind of, like, weird in the moment, so we were like, you know. But yeah, this is me saying, like, gonna buy us one in the same hotel as you. And then he put it in vanish mode, like he did with, but he put it in vanish mode and he was saying stuff, and then he was like saying, like, it's too risky for me to do that.
The girls then allege that Joe purchased a hotel room for them across the street from the hotel he was staying at, to the point where they were even able to wave at each other through the windows. They claim he would strategically turn on vanish mode whenever he said something extremely inappropriate, but they allege that he was asking for explicit pictures and for them to come over to his hotel room at night.
So we're at the hotel at this time, the one he bought us, and he's still texting us, and he is asking us for videos of us kissing, making out, nudes. I mean, all of that. He was literally basically begging us to come over to his hotel.
Now, I've been on the internet long enough to know that the initial reaction from the internet and fans of Impractical Jokers or anything on the internet related, whenever women come out and speak about shit, they'll find any reason to scrutinize the things that they're saying. But one thing I take into factor or consideration is when a bunch of people are kind of saying stories and they have this similar theme, I kind of take that into consideration more. And as I alluded to before, Joe's issue at the end of the day, it's him not being able to stop being a gooner and hitting up his fans. But before we get into that issue, take fame and celebrity off the table for a second. Am I the only one who finds it very fucking weird when an older guy over the age of 30 is just like hitting on or dating 20-year-old girls? But do I also find it weird when Leonardo DiCaprio is dating a 19-year-old model? 3 years ago this happened, as he's pushing 50? Or Bill Belichick dating a 24-year-old? Abso-fucking-lutely. So just on that principle, before we even get to the fame dynamics of it, it's already a weird premise for me to understand a dude that is 49 to my knowledge according to Google, and you can't speak to older women, or someone that you can, like, I don't know, relate to more instead of just someone who uses ChatGPT for their English 401 essay. I just can't get my mind around that.
On the surface, it may seem like all these allegations are baseless due to a lack of evidence. Then again, all these stories show a consistent pattern of behavior. The use of applications like Snapchat and Instagram to send non-permanent messages to teenage girls, all of them being explicit in nature, and almost all of them end with an invitation to a hotel room. Joe's initial response was outdated at this point, and he quickly canceled his upcoming tour dates and issued a new statement. Having taken some time to reflect, I've decided to voluntarily enter an inpatient program to continue working on myself.
This is the second issue that is blatantly obvious with this kind of behavior. Like, why is it so hard for content creators or famous people or anyone with the following to just, like, not be a gooner? Remember the James Charles situation? How he got into countless allegations, but why was that? The initial catalyst was because he didn't have the morality to, like, not go after his fans. He put himself in that position. And listen, like, I understand the whole thing about, two consenting adults is technically legal, but the power dynamic with someone famous and someone you look up to, and the famous person kind of taking advantage of that, it's just sleazy. I just don't understand why, like, these people, is it so hard for them to just be at a bar with other influencers or other, rich people and try and pick them up? I don't understand why. I mean, I do understand it's probably easier to go after someone that adores you and likes the things that you put out. But again, just the sleaziness, it bothers me a lot. And I see a lot of content creators and famous people taking advantage of that and doing that. And in other words, where's the respect for the fans? If you just assume everyone that comments on your videos or reaches out to you or DMs you or greets you in person If you think all those people are just someone that you can just smash, you just have no respect for your fans. And if you're known as that kind of famous person, ultimately, it will usually hurt your career. Not in every scenario, but you're going to be known as that celebrity. And I think that's what's been happening with Joe. He's been known as that guy on the Impractical Jokers show who likes to just go after his fans. And I don't know, it could have affected his marriage. And my advice to someone that's famous like Joe or anyone else with influence is just don't engage in this kind of behavior. And especially if the majority of them are less than half your age and young 20-year-olds, it's just weird.
Raised questions about the entire show, and specifically the other cast members. The other three guys had remained dead silent throughout this entire ordeal, and to this day haven't said a word about the situation. You would think lifelong best friends would be extremely quick to defend their buddy, but they didn't. And now people think they might have some skeletons in their closet that they didn't want revealed.
This one makes me really upset because Sal is one of the guys that, he's one of my favorite guys from the Impractical Jokers show. I even watched his podcast when it was like a thing back in the day with Chris DiStefano, something like that, another funny comedian. But if you don't want to look like you had anything to do with this, for instance, like being around Joe when he was hitting on young girls, because allegedly that's what all the whispers and rumors were with producers on the show and the crew for Joe's goonish behavior, I think a sort of statement would have been some good reassurances to separate yourself from that. I don't know, something like, I don't think we should be engaging in this kind of behavior that takes advantage of our fans. I'm glad Joe's getting the help he needs, blah, blah, blah. And for the rest of our fans to know going forward, this is not something we are going to engage in. And I know it's not easy to call out your friends sometimes, especially ones that can't take criticism, even if they're objectively doing something wrong. But whether you're famous or whether you're a regular guy or gal, that's just a part of life. That is sometimes something you have to go through. And it's even worse when you're someone famous like Sal and Joe. The video also goes into some of the stuff Murr's been dealing with, but ultimately this was mainly a video about Joe because he came out with statements, unlike Murr, who just has not responded to a lot of the allegations. But Joe, on the other hand, has conceded some things, such as inviting young women to his hotel. I can just say, for me personally, we'll never know what was said in the background, amongst these four friends, but you best believe I'd be in the guys' group chat and just being like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? We got a great show going on and y'all are ruining it over freaking gooning over our fans. Genuinely, it's not worth it. Also, subscribe to Raf Polo Laurent on YouTube. But yeah, like I said, I'm not here to say that Joe did something illegal per se, but from the confirmed evidence that we have, him and many other famous celebrities and content creators fall into the same pit trap of going after your fans, the most vulnerable people that look up to you and adore you. And I think that's slimy, and it's a culture that definitely needs to stop on the internet. Humans are imperfect creatures, but sometimes the mistakes we make are so avoidable. Just don't do that. I don't get it. I don't even know. I don't get it. And people do have the capacity to change. Like I said, like the video essayist said, Joe is going through some inpatient thing. I'm not sure how that is going to necessarily translate to not hitting up fans, but it sounds good on paper. I would also assume that now that Joe's with his wife, or his former ex-wife, he'll be on better behavior. I don't know, he was kind of doing this while he was married too. But the point of me making this video, like several other videos, is I want to see the internet just be great again. Wholesome content creators, wholesome celebrities. But 9 times out of 10, this is a common theme with a lot of famous people because they keep flirting with their fans. But before I sign off, especially if you're watching this video, whether you're a content creator or a music artist or you develop games, whatever it is, if people follow you for the stuff that you put out there, it is literally your duty. It's you need to remember the reason why you're in a place of prominence to begin with is because of the fans, the people that support you. So for Joe and any other content creator that face themselves with these issues because they cannot fight the fact of just not being a gooner to your fans, I have no sympathy for you. And also,
I'm Michael Jordan. Stop it. Get some help.